The Last of Us Part 2 finally has a release date. 3 years after the first trailer was released in 2016. In that time, we've seen gameplay and had more of the story revealed to us. Everyone's getting excited to continue Joel and Ellie's story, 7 years after we got our hands on the original. I thought it would be a good time to look at the masterpiece that is The Last of Us. First, I will try to avoid any serious spoilers, as this isn't about the story of The Last of Us, but there will definitely be some. If you've never played the game before, I strongly recommend playing it if you don't know anything about the story. The Last of Us Remastered is currently available on the PSN store, and for any price, it's a bargain. Part of the reason The Last of Us had such an impact on me was because I came into it wanting to dislike it. I didn't play it until the remaster was released on the PS4. By then, it was already being touted as one of the greatest games of the generation, if not ever. I very unfairly judged this game before I knew much about it. I knew the story and acting were meant to be amazing, and it made good use of mocap animation. Aside from this, I was worried about where games were headed at the time. The Last of Us was released in 2013. It was around this time when David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake, was replaced by Kiefer Sutherland. This made me fear how games were progressing. Although Kiefer Sutherland went on to do a great job, I thought David Hayter was an excellent Solid Snake. He brought so much to the character. I didn't like the idea of gaming moving more towards a film route. Basically, I was worried about the budgets in gaming. I was afraid large chunks of spending were going to be used on big screen actors with the idea of attracting a new audience. In the long run, this would cause other areas of gaming to suffer, in particular gameplay and story. I took this out on games like The Last of Us. Years later, this was clearly an unfounded fear. Kiefer Sutherland did a great job, and the cinematic tone in The Last of Us helped make it one of the best games I've ever played. Its narrative locks you in immediately. By being gritty and real, you don't play as a superhero who saves the day, but as a terrified father. We have the background we need from Joel to know the type of character he is almost immediately. The relationship of Joel and Ellie builds with the player. We are concerned when they are. In the section of the game when you're separated from Ellie, I had real concern for her well-being. The idea of her being alone added stress and a time frame to the situation. The sections when you play as Ellie are also particularly scary. You don't have the savagery of Joel to brute force your way out of the situation. The script is also particularly real. The back and forth between the characters is so believable. Yes, they are in a horrible situation, but they have been there for years. Everything they say isn't explaining to the player how the world fell apart. It's not used just to further the story. Rather, it's about little moments of curiosity Ellie has. This could happen at any point in the world. They build characters, relationships, as well as making us like them. It's got humorous moments too. Not a wisecracking side character used to alleviate moments of serious plot progression, but little back and forth while travelling through the world. It's not just the story that is excellent, the gameplay is brilliant. The stealth and action sections are so well balanced. The set pieces work well to break up the gameplay before it becomes monotonous. The combat is particularly visceral. There is real impact from each hit. This makes it surprisingly enjoyable. The urgency of the combat is also rather cinematic. Even with repeat animations, they don't feel any less real. There's so much personality in the combat. Joel fights like a man who has already lost everything, and it does raise ethical questions. It's hard to know if Joel is a good person, even though he is very likable. The greatest thing The Last of Us did was show how excellent game writing can be. It's emotional, believable, and the characters are real and three-dimensional. Something almost any game can do to improve gaming going forward. It does all this without sacrificing gameplay. It's getting closer and closer now, so I might just watch those game trailers again.